Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to Barstool Baseball. It is Friday. It's the American League Omaha Combo Show. I'm with Chris Castellani. We are on the banks of is this the Iowa River, sir? Missouri River.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. Omaha's behind us. We got the College World Series coming up next week. We're out here all week. I'm with the man, myth, legend from the 2022 College World Series, Chris Castellani. If you hear a dull hum behind us, that's the Ameristar Casino Riverboat. Those are the blackjack dealers working extra hard here, guys. Exactly. It's like 9 a.m. Thursday morning. Great trip in yesterday.
Fantastic trip in. Safe, sound. I mean, only there was a car on fire, but that was the only bump in the road. Not ours, though, and not responsible for that. So, besides that, great. I mean, dude, come on. Can you beat this? Seriously?
And we probably can, to be honest with you. I can think of a couple things, but this is on top of a list. It's at the top of a list.
You add baseball on top of this, it's hard to get better than that.
Well, we had just it's an 8-hour trip from Chicago to Omaha. We had a couple bad stops. That's my fault. We have a great vlog series out now and out every day that we're in Omaha. And the first one is out, and it's when you talk about the car on fire. We got some good footage of a flaming automobile, big trailer. Nice trip to Culver's, good stop at Love's. Car got towed. That's funny.
Yes.
Tell that story real quick. So, Pat, how would you describe Pat?
Pat's a good egg. And I would say a little wet behind the ears, but he's a go-getter, and he's doing us a huge favor this week for the record.
Yeah, Pat's from my neighborhood on the southwest side of Chicago. He's from St. Cajetan's, which means nothing to nobody except for me. And I've known Pat since he was a very young kid. I would go teach the media classes at Brother Rice, and he would ask me all these questions about Barstool, and he's just like, anytime, if I could ever, and he really fucking meant it. I said, one of these days I'm going to need help with something. It's been helping me with a couple TikToks over the last couple months. So I was like, you know what, dude, I bet you don't have shit going on this week. I need a guy to do a ton of stuff. I need a guy to do everything for me. And you probably get those DMs. Someone's like, I'll get you a dip. I'll go wash the car. I'll do this. It's like, yeah, I'm going to say yes to one of those.
Right.
Okay, Pat, you're going to drive us around. You'll hold the camera. Just do whatever we ask. Just be cool. Young kid, nice kid, small, fits into places. It's how you stay,
Yeah.
Right away got the car towed. First fucking assignment, car towed last night. Pat, where's the car? He's like, it's not stolen. I know that.
It was, and man, as somebody who's been an intern, and as somebody who while working at radio stations and doing some various odd jobs that I've done, I've had to move people's cars in the past. I saw the sinking feeling when he got to that space and was like, this car ain't here. And it's just like,
my car.
We had to let him off a little bit easy, man. I mean, we'll give it to him later, but it's like he's worked his butt off. But yes, obviously that's literally a bump in the road.
It's a great moment, actually. It really was a great moment.
I mean, I'll pull him aside. He doesn't know this yet, but I'll pull him aside at some point and be like, that added to content. Like,
he thought I was gonna punch him in the face. He was nervous.
Shaking.
He was gonna get he was nervous. He was gonna get beat up. Like, we're at Beverly Park and it's 2000. It's not gonna happen. Pat, I'm not gonna punch you in the face over a towed car. 2 towed cars, you get punched in the face. So check out the vlog series. We're trying to show you guys a little bit more behind the scenes. We obviously spent a lot of time on these shows talking just baseball.
Yeah. Which not complaining about.
No, that's the nature of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The nature of a national baseball show. I don't think anybody gives a shit if I slept well or didn't. But we're on site. We're on site the rest of the week. We'll be doing College World Series content, college baseball stuff, social media, whatever. But we have an obligation to a programming schedule. Monday Power Rankings. Those are out. Wednesday National League. Clemmer and I this week went so deep on the Arizona Diamondbacks, I honestly forgot what we were doing. It's like if you've ever heard Jerry Garcia talk about playing a song, he's like, I forgot the music we were playing. I was so lost in it. That's how I was with our Arizona Diamondbacks conversation. Today is the American League show.
Yes, sir.
And you're passionate about the West Coast today.
I am today. I never expected to start any show with this when we started doing this, but let's start by talking about the A's.
Let's start with the Oakland Athletics.
Let's talk about the Oakland Athletics
franchise. We love to see them competitive. They're how many in a row?
It was snapped last night, but they were at 7. They lost to the Rays last night, but they won 7 in a row. Which, I mean, I thought they would struggle throughout the year to win a series, multiple series, let alone consecutive games. It was a cool. They were in the midst of a cool streak, a surprising streak, obviously, given the fact that they were on pace for 130 losses a week ago. But
keep going. I'm just checking our levels. I'm just checking.
Yeah, but They won 6 in a row, but I want to talk about where they were at for game number 7 because there's been a lot of bad blood, obviously, between Oakland A's fans and Oakland A's ownership. With the team now, it is officially happening, going to Vegas here pretty soon. The A's did what they called a reverse boycott. They tried to fill the Oakland Coliseum, and 28,000 came.
Not bad.
That is, dude. That is fucking phenomenal to me. I mean, it's hard to get multiple people at one time to do anything together.
Would you go though if you were an A's fan?
If I was,
Would you go? And that's what I'm saying.
28,000 is a good crowd because I'm not going. If I'm an A's fan, I'm like, fuck you guys. It's a great thing. I like it. And so I'm already detached and emotionally removed. So
I think that's a cool look at A's fans that they do that.
Oh, for sure. And I think that to answer your question, if it was the Tigers in this position, I think I'd go. Yeah, I think I'd do one last ride at Comerica and pay my respects and I might not enjoy it, but it'd be one of those I have to complete this circle. But the A's ended up winning the game. They beat the Rays, right, to win 7 in a row. And I think this is such a unique thing. This is such a cool thing to me because it puts to rest any argument really when you talk about fan bases that the fanfare isn't there. That obviously from a business standpoint, the A's becoming whatever they're going to become in Las Vegas is probably going to be a very profitable venture. I understand that. But if they would have just stuck with that opinion the whole time, that would have been fine. But there's been this kind of thin gaslighting of the fan base as if the fanfare was never there. No, much like anything in the world, people will flock if the product is good. The idea of having these fans going out to the Oakland Coliseum chanting, sell the team, that sounded like a product that people wanted to be a part of. And so they came to the park. Shocker. So I'm glad, ultimately, I'm glad this franchise and their fans, when you tell the history of the Oakland A's, that will be a chapter of that. Hey, we had this random 7-game win streak in a season from hell and potentially the final season in Oakland. Good on them.
Is there any way at all baseball stays in Oakland at all? It's gone, right? It's for
gone.
Sure gone.
It's gone. I mean, especially the writing's been on the wall for a minute with Golden State moving out and obviously the Raiders moving out. But right now, I don't see it in the cards in the near future.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah. As we're sitting here
on the banks of the Missouri River.
Yeah.
Council Bluffs, Iowa, getting ready for the College World Series. I got seagulls chirping behind me. I got the air conditioning running extra overtime. And I'm thinking, we put way more money into this property than the Oakland Athletics did in the Coliseum over the years.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, dude, this is it's crazy to think just how much when you look at the Coliseum, and then for them to have any sensibility or any sense to turn around and gaslight fans about you guys don't want to show up. Those early 2000s Oakland Athletic games, then the boycott game doesn't, come close. But within context of if you're a young baseball fan and all you've seen is just hopeless, pathetic Oakland Athletics baseball over the last 2 years, maybe the COVID season is kind of you don't even remember. And even then they didn't have there was no fucking crowd for those playoff games. You're distant. You're detached from when Matt Olson was there, I guess, with Marcus Semien.
Which not that long ago. I mean, we're talking 2-3 years ago.
No.
Yeah.
But that's it.
It's good that young baseball fans are able to see the Coliseum filled and see Oakland Athletics fans be as crazy as they are, because it is a bullshit narrative that those people don't care. When fuck it, I'll rank fan bases right now. Let's just do top 5. A's are up there for people who would sacrifice for their baseball team. A fan base generally. I know you would. I wouldn't put the Tigers in there. I know Cubs fans would. I wouldn't put Cubs fans in there.
You wouldn't put them top 5?
Who's
top 10? Well, no. What do you think? Because
I would put the Oakland A's in the top 5, and I would put the Chicago White Sox in the top 5 of fan bases that would sell off the youngest child.
For
the World Series.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd throw the Mets in there. I don't know how much of that is just
fucking hate.
I know you're not. That's not your vibe.
Why are the Mets? Why do people love the Mets so much?
Well, I think it's just. I found them more interesting the last few years because of Cohen, because they've had this obvious hopefulness that continually gets shattered each season.
I don't understand why any Mets fans are ever hopeful ever. I don't get it at all.
Because you drive yourself fucking crazy if you can't be a little bit.
Last I know this is the American League show, but last year alone, if you're a Mets fan, you should not have a smile on your face until you win another playoff series. You should just be expecting the absolute worst. But if you want to include them in our top, I'll certainly put them top 8.
That's
top
fair,
5, I'll include the Mets if you want to.
Yeah.
Fan bases that would really do awful things for victories.
I don't know, man.
You know what's funny? I feel like 15 years ago, would like the Red Sox would be like close to the top of this list. Do you feel like that whole, we'd sell anything for a championship thing has dwindled a little bit because they've been so successful? Like, of course, Red Sox fans are insanely passionate. I'm just saying, like, does a little bit of luster get lost when you see, 4 in 14 years?
Yeah, a little bit of it gets lost, but not enough, because I think I made this point on a show before. Like, if I could pick one team, it would be the Red Sox. Like, if I could be a fan.
Yeah, we talked about it. Oh,
man. Dude, that's so sick. Showing up to Fenway, day baseball, drinking with the boys. Like, that's a culture around that. It's culture around the party and the social scene that goes along with the baseball, and then you add in diehard baseball and recent success.
Yeah.
Fuck. I do think, though, being a Red Sox fan while the Yankees were awesome and you were trying to take them down had to be the best.
The best.
Yeah, like that 01 to 04 era when you could look back on it and be like, we fucked those games.
Well, it was worth it when they finally got over the hill, or over the top. Like, I don't think any Red Sox fan went to bed happy after Aaron Boone's
No. But if you were like, from the context
you
of
were chasing them.
That playoffs, it's October 2002, and you got the playoffs coming up. That buzz, you and your boys, like, this is the year we're taking on the Yankees. That whole season, that whole era of being a Red Sox fan had to be so exciting. Now, if they didn't win 04, if you don't win in 07, if you don't, no, it still sucks. You're a Mets fan right now. Go stay with the Mets fans. But you did win a World Series. So I guess in hindsight, as I look back on this, I'm like, that might have been a crazy time to be a baseball fan.
And especially, I feel like we talked about that 01 to kind of 04 era when they were building up, but I think it started really with the Pedro years there. Like, I would say if I could watch one pitcher pitch in his home park just in the prime of their career, Pedro at Fenway when he was fucking 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, 0 earned runs every single start, and that changeup was just floating. Like, that was, I think that kind of kicked off that new era. And obviously you add the pieces you added, but yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine Boston 1998 and it's 2:00 and you're at the, deli or something, or you're picking up flowers, and it's like, the Pedro's, everybody just knows. It's like, you going tonight? Pedro's on the hill. You going Pedro tonight? Pedro's going. Gotta go see Pedro tonight. But the Red Sox do that so well, and there are other fan bases that avail themselves to their fans. They tie it in so much to the social aspect. The Cubs are like that, but there's so many outsiders with the Cubs fan base. Much as there are with the Yankees. So it's like the American League, the diehard fan bases, I would say the Athletics, the White Sox, diehards. I mean that word, diehard. Do you have anybody else you throw in?
I mean, I gotta throw our hat in the ring, but that's personal.
Are the Tigers like that? You
I
want
think so,
to?
Yes. Yeah, no, legitimately. I think
How are Tigers fans listening to this? Can you help educate me in my DMs as well if Chris is crazy or not? Because I'm interested in this topic.
I don't think my post-game videos become what they become if not for the fact that there's a lot of Tiger fans out there that feel the way I do about this team. Like, I mean, you know how I would react to I'd react to the Tigers being fucking 500, let alone being a World Series contender. There's a lot of fans in Detroit like that. I'm telling you, what people always, when Comerica Park was coming up in the first 5-6 years, people it's all right, it's whatever. Then you see a playoff game there and you go, no, this place is electric when it wants to be. You just got to get the product.
Interesting. 84.
I think that's another big reason for that is there's now a generation that does not know.
Yeah, but there's also a generation that was raised by the 84 people. Those 84 people still walk around. They had babies. Those babies are now adults. Those babies are you and me. I mean, I'm not from Detroit, but our age group in that bracket of they lived through it. So when you're a kid and you're walking around the house and Dad's got the game on, it's like, well, Dad watched the World Series in 84 and partied with his buddies when Alan Trammell was making plays and shit. Then it's part of that. That's why winning you can't just sell your team down the river year after year after year because you can sacrifice these bonds with the fan bases.
100%.
Do you feel when the A's get to Vegas, are they even going to try and be a community team, or is this going to be a completely different vibe?
Oh, it'll be a totally different vibe.
It'll be like a theme park. It'll be like an attraction.
Yeah, it'll be like when the Nationals moved. The Nationals didn't give a shit about carrying over that Expos tradition, so I think that it will be a completely new vibe, new franchise, new everything, and I think even their fans feel the same way. I don't think there's a whole lot of Oakland A's fans who have any intention of rooting for the team when they go to Vegas. It was in Oakland, which I respect. I could. Tigers move out of Detroit, fuck them. The Detroit matters a lot more than the Tigers part does. So yeah, I think it'll be a complete revamp, but at the same time, I do think the Oakland A's as a franchise it sounds weird to put it this way, are going to age better than some other, like a team like the Expos. Where, the history of baseball, there's a lot of chapters that have the Oakland A's as a part of it. I mean, you could talk about the Moneyball era, and that's incredibly important to the modern game, but they were the Mash Brothers in the late 80s, early 90s. You won 3 straight championships in the 70s. It was, as a whole, they were a remarkably successful franchise.
Yeah, the Athletics just move around. That's what they do. So they're moving again.
Yeah.
It is fundamental to baseball history, though. Teams move all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, in the history of baseball, someone's going to say, well, not in the last 20, 30 years. Right. But within the history of the sport and your life experience the last 20, 30 years isn't the history of the sport. What you know about the sport isn't the history of the sport. So if someone says, in the history of the sport, teams fucking move around a lot.
Yeah.
And finances are hard. Filling a ballpark for a bad baseball team is impossible.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll go watch bad, whatever. Bad. Bears are 3-13, 3-14. Sure. Maybe. That's a tough sell, but we'll go one day. We want to stay west for a second because, it is a little alarming that the A's are, intentionally shitty. They sold their team. They hate their fans.
Right.
They suck. They're the worst. They win 6 in a row, and, immediately the lead story. And then what else do you want to talk about? You're like, what about the Angels? They're 7 games over 500.
Yeah.
2 best players in the world. Most recognizable baseball player of our lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the Angels second.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's weird because we always talk about, we want the Angels to get good. I really want to see Trout and Ohtani in the playoffs. And they lost, as of the time of this recording, they lost last night to the Rangers. But so they're 6 games above 500. They're 38-32. They've played good baseball. Ohtani and Trout have been healthy this year. Ohtani's still going to win the fucking MVP. Trout's probably going to finish 2nd or 3rd. They're 6 games above 500. They're only 5.5 back in that division. Now, I don't see them catching the Rangers, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. At the very least, if the season ended today, they would be very much in the thick of things for a wild card spot, or at least fighting for it. So my question, what's it going to take? What's it going to take for us to be like, oh, these Angels might be different? Is it, have we reached a point where it's just, I'll believe it when I see it? We won't believe it until they're, until they're celebrating on the mound in late September, early October?
When Mike Trout's playing meaningful baseball at the same time the Eagles are playing meaningful football, and he can't just fucking sit down on a Sunday and not give a fuck about their game because the Eagles are playing. When Mike, when you confront that, that's when I'm serious about the Angels. Until then, pal, worry about your Eagles.
That's a good, I think that's a fair test, honestly. Because that's, at that point, we're talking early to mid-September, and it's not I know the Angels have only made the playoffs once with Trout and Ohtani. They've had multiple years where they've gotten to mid to late August, and they've had a reasonable shot at potentially making the postseason. They were close in 15. They made a bit of a run when they traded for Justin Upton in 17. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think that's fair, because I think at that point in the season, it also means that those guys will be healthy still. And I think at this point, there's been so much controversy with ownership. I mean, if there's ever a year in which you're like, why not just say fuck it and go all in at the deadline? Ohtani's gone.
I think people need to just remove that line of thinking at all times. This fuck it, go all in. Guys, stop doing it. Stop saying if you're in a front office and you got a guy walking around, fire him. I don't even want to hear that thinking. Well, fuck it, go all in.
Do you think the Padres went all in the deadline last year?
Yeah, but they still have Soto now this year. It wasn't we're going to...
Fair, okay, okay.
And then they went out and they got Bogarts, and it wasn't hey, we know this is falling apart, so we got to just pump and dump these young prospects because these older guys...
It's not falling apart, though, because they're 6 games up.
I'm saying that's where I would get rid of that thinking, or that's why the thinking is so bad to me, is that you find yourself in these teams, so sell off young players. You're going to need those young players in 3 to 4 years. And if the Angels... do that, if they sell off this year to chase if they sell off in an overly extend themselves to get their hands around a championship this year, it would tell me that the people who work for the Angels are the dumbest people in baseball. They haven't learned anything at all.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is have momentum going in the playoffs and feeling good as a team and playing at the maximum of your fucking potential, and trading prospects for a left fielder that's 8% better than your current left fielder is not a guarantee to that at all. Now, I understand when people are like, we don't have a fucking power bat, we got to play 40 more games, we got to get to the playoffs. That is a completely different approach to the trade deadline. But people who make moves at the trade deadline and clubs that do it
under the auspice of like the first primary logical consideration afterwards is now our World Series odds. Go fuck yourself, dude. It's a terrible way to think. If you want to make moves to get to the playoffs and gamble, I support that. But if you're really making moves and you're thinking like, this is it, this is what pushes us over, I fucking hate that. The only thing as I say all this about the Angels that would change it is like, we know, right? Is Ohtani and Trout, is this it? Ohtani's never coming back to the Angels after this year, right? He's done.
I would be stunned.
He's done, right?
Yeah,
if he's done, then maybe. No, fuck you. Why did you even let me entertain this now?
Well, because I think it's something they could legitimately entertain. Because I think they do.
What does it do for the fans? What does it do for the owners? What does it do for anybody who cares about the Angels?
The only thing is, I think they're fragile like this. The only thing is they can at least say, hey, we got to the playoffs once with Trout and Ohtani. Like, because that is the running joke right now. Like, that you have the two best players in the world. I
would not make fundamental changes to my organization. So one day while I'm walking through the airport, I can turn around and be like, hey, we went to the playoffs that one time. Like, fuck all you guys. Fair general manager making moves, dude. I'm trying to win a championship. And winning a championship requires, like, staying steady and not giving in to these slight impulses. Like, well, you are going to lose Ohtani. Right now he's an Angel, though. You haven't lost him yet. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about getting the bullpen figured out. You know, I'm not. Shohei Ohtani's the greatest player in the world. He's on my team right now. I'm worried. I got to go find... do we like Zach Neto, by the way?
It's a neat story.
So, and someone had messaged and said, can you guys mix in some Neto talk if you guys ever decide to talk about the Angels?
Yeah.
Because if you bring up the Angels right away, you go Trout and Ohtani. Trout, Ohtani.
Right.
And he's the youngest shortstop. What is like a 19, 20-year-old shortstop?
Yeah.
I saw his like HBP's up, good defense. Now, I don't get like whether he's going to be in the big leagues for a decade and he'll be an infielder and all that shit. He'll like him and he'll, barring injury. But he's like the exact type of player the Angels need, like, just keep drafting and developing. Yeah. It's just a damn shame that, like, they don't have a bunch of him that have been drafted and developed over the last 5-7 years.
Their player development has been awful. I mean, you can give him credit for Trout, but the way I feel about Trout is the way I feel about a lot of generational guys where it's like, you drafted a unicorn. Like, I feel like if Trout got drafted by the Pirates, he would have still turned into Mike Trout. Like, he's just that talented of a player. But okay, you give him Trout. You don't give him credit for Ohtani. You give him credit for signing Ohtani, not for developing Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani got to the league throwing 100. Beyond that, I mean, Joe Adell's been, like, was supposed to be huge. He's been a nothing. I mean, he's been a nothing for them. And then beyond that, I mean, there's a few guys here or there that you can look at and say, like...
I mean, like, Detmers comes up. It's like, oh, wait, Detmers is great. And he throws a one-hitter, no-hitter, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's okay.
He's
fine.
He fits into what that entire pitching staff is. Outside of Ohtani, it's like a collection of number fours. Like, Ohtani is... At worst, he has ace stuff. At best, he's a, like, front of the line, top of the rotation guy. But beyond that, it's just kind of collection number 3, number 4 starters, not a super deep rotation, and a bullpen that isn't, like, I don't know. They just seem to have a team full of guys that could get guys out at points, but not really when it matters.
I've been raw dogging this episode mostly. I am going to the phone now because I want to pull up the Angels bullpen. Do you have an update on Anthony Rendon, by the way?
No, not that I've heard.
Or Hunter Renfroe.
Hunter Renfroe I like.
Now, why is Hunter Renfroe such a cultural icon? Is it just because Jared likes him?
No, I think...
Like, I see, like, everyone's always like, this fucking Jared doing this shit again.
Well, I think it's because he's one of these weird players who is quite good. Like, he can mash, he's got a great arm in the outfield, but he keeps bouncing around from team to team. Like, there's a lore to him now. It's like, he keeps putting up good years with good teams and then getting traded or having to sign one-year deals with others.
What does it tell you about what the guys who manage him think of him?
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, fine, fucking, whatever, get somebody else.
Yeah, he was, when the Red Sox traded him, I didn't like that trade at all, and it did not pay off for him, but...
Hey, speaking of the Red Sox, they're 34-35.
Yes.
You know, as I look at the West, too, I just quick touch here. Rangers, 42 wins. Astros, 3.5 back.
Yeah.
Angels, 5.5 back. Mariners, 9 back. That's a great division. That is a great
really good division, yeah.
Really, because coming into the season, we would have said the Mariners would be better. The Angels never performed well. They always underperform. The Rangers, average. What are they really doing? One of those young guys getting there, and fuck, man, that's turned out to be a phenomenal division. maybe obviously not as good as the AL East, but we spent so much time talking about how good the AL East is.
Yeah.
And after coming out of the West and looking at the East and being like, well, the Red Sox are 34 and 35.
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. That division is so... Thank God the Tigers don't play in that division.
I know. Have you seen our record against that division? It's awful.
And you guys were like 1-15 to start the season against him.
Yeah.
Is it... I guess I'm curious for Red Sox fans and AL East fans. Like, do you guys just call the season now? Because everyone's so good. And even though your team, I'm not saying your team sucks. It's just like relative to that division.
Right.
If you're a Red Sox fan, you're just like sitting on the couch right now, like fucking waiting for Patriots camp to open up.
I mean, I think you're in kind of shoulder shrug mode with this team because I think coming into the year, I thought I knew they would not be a very good ball club, but I knew they'd be way better. Like I saw some people projecting 90 to 100 losses for this team. Like, dude, there's too many good hitters here. Like, they're gonna be all right. Now they're below 500. I guess they're just for a minute there. Considering how they were playing, there's like, wait a minute. Is there like some 2021 kind of magic again that they found with this team? I think Chris Sale, again, getting injured, like 60 DIL is just a killer for them. But they've gotten some surprisingly good innings by some pitchers. The offense isn't terrible, but I just think that you're at a point now where you kind of you're at the worst place possible, which is you're just above the line of mediocre. Like you're good enough to keep things interesting, but I'll be very interested to see what their deadline looks like because you can't be buyers. I mean, you can only be buyers if you reasonably expect to compete in that division, and they can't. Right?
Yeah,
now.
They shouldn't be.
No, they would destroy, and they won't be, I guess it's just they're solid enough. There's a solid enough core there where I think there's a lot of assets that could become very appealing at the deadline if they want to go that route. I don't know how hell-bent they are on bottoming out this thing, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point with this is the weird point in the baseball season where I'm so excited for the College World Series because it's a little bit of a break because there's so much of this like dullness going into the All-Star break where this idea of are they buyers, are they sellers, are they real, is it not, do they do this? That's really where we're at for the next like 3 weeks in the baseball calendar at MLB. It's they need it because you need your prospects have to continue to play, get the scouting reports, kind of get a better idea of what your organizational depth is. So like we go to the trade deadline, like a lot of these teams have to get a fucking handle on who did they draft last year? Is that kid at AA? How's he look at high A? And this is like the meat and potatoes of that part of the season, and then like the front offices will start putting those lists together, the guys that are getting shipped out. I don't think this is going to be a big trade deadline. I don't. I think there might be one massive move that blows your tits off your chest, but there's too many buyers. There's way too many buyers. There's not a ton of sellers. Marcus Stroman's probably the best pitcher available right now.
Yeah, him or Erod. Well, if Erod comes back healthy,
right, exactly. Yeah. Erod's injured. Marcus Stroman's 5-0 with like a .9 ERA over his last 5 starts. So I would be... and that's something where if you said Marcus Stroman's going to get you a haul before the year. What? But it's a weird market. It's a weird economy for players. And we grew up in an era where the trades were just 6-teamers. Yeah, and this guy, Nomar's going here.
I was with
crazy shit.
I grew up in the heart of the Dombrowski Tigers era where he's like, he was adding like fucking packs of bubble gum to trades and shit just to get the value up a little bit. Like it was, I miss that. I think that's awesome. Like what I know they didn't win the World Series, but like what the Padres did last deadline, where it's like, holy fuck, dude! Like it
gives you a little boost. It gives you a little boost as a fan.
Yeah, this is also, you kind of alluded to it. This is the point in the baseball season, and there are exceptions. I know the Nats were 19 and 31 a few years back, but like this is kind of the point in the season where you know who you are. You're kind of at that fork in the road. You can go one way or the other. Like I'm a fan of a team, and you are as well. That's it's not going to be an exciting summer, and so I think now for teams like the Orioles or the Yankees or some of the really good teams in baseball, it's a great time because we're a few weeks away from potentially really shaking things up as long as we continue to play well. But yeah, I think the Red Sox, because for a brief second there, they were flirting with the idea of being competitive in this division, in a brutal division. Just doesn't seem like it's in the cards. Injuries have kind of gotten in the way of that. Yeah.
I don't own a lake house. If I did, though, I'd probably go to it a lot. And when I would go to the lake house, I would imagine those summer weekends you need, we're going to a lake house. Pack it up, bring the dog. and then it starts raining, that probably sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, I'm going to the lake house. It's going to be a good time. But say I own the same lake house. I'm not at the lake house. And it's pouring and it's storming. Do I give a fuck that it's raining up there? Other than what? Don't flood the basement. Don't do it. Nothing horrific damage. But I'm not at the lake house this weekend, so I don't give a fuck if it's raining up there. That's how I feel about the Cubs this season. It's a lake house. Like, they right now are like, I'm not going to the lake house. Like, they could be as bad as they want. You're not taking me down this path. I'm not going to stress about the fact that it's storming over the lake house because you motherfuckers, no. There are those times when I want to get real, like, you have, where I'm up there and it can't be, why are you not better? Why are you not better? You should be good. That 2021 season, but I think it's when you go through, they traded Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, they brought David Ross back to manage those guys.
Yeah.
They didn't bring Kyle Schwarber back. They let John Lester wear a Cardinals uniform. Wilson Contreras wore a Cardinals uniform. That, Jake coming back and then letting him go out to San Diego. And there never any point is it any good as a fan. Like, it's not healthy for me to care enough for that to bother me.
And we were talking about this on the ride in, too, is I think a reason for that is you guys had your run. I know, like, 16 obviously was the epicenter of that. But, like, you had a 6-year stretch, which it's on. You went to end opening day being like, all right, we're gonna have a shot.
Yeah. Then there's that stretch where they trade for Cole Hamels at the trade deadline.
Right,
You're like, all right, yeah, cool. Like, let's get Hamels. We fucking like him. Let's get Castellanos. We like him.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
But,
let's get Quintana. They made their moves. It's the inverse of what I'm going through because I guarantee you, like, Tigers win it all. Tigers have a 5-6 year stretch where they're in the ALCS every year. Even my insane passion will change a little bit. It's like, we got, how do you run? It is the weight of the world's off my shoulders. We can move on.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll notice the Omaha skyline is behind us. One of the freight bridges. It's a gorgeous scenery.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. We have a whole week ahead of us. Opening ceremonies tonight. The field the field's announced, but they parade the players around. Good tailgate scene. Couple dogs in the parking lot. So there's a lot for us to bite into this week and really fall in love with the game of baseball. I'm very excited for this week. I do want to just let's stay in American League mode though.
Yeah.
I'm getting so excited to go over there.
Yeah.
So for American League mode, I would like you to tell me if there was one team for sure right now. We've talked a lot this episode about trade deadline and buyer seller. Pick one team right now where you can make the executive decision. No, you are a buyer. You're going all in. You have to try and win a championship this year.
Baltimore Orioles. Because I think they're the one team that I fear is gonna pussy out the most. Where they're gonna come into this and say, no, I think we're 1 year away. And who knows? Maybe Erod goes there and bombs and he's terrible, or you get Giolito and he gets popped. I understand it, but I think that they've been in 1 year away mode for a while now, and it's eventually you just get to a point where you're either going to do the damn thing or you're not. So you got your core, and I'm not saying shake it up to a point we're going to trade Gunnar Henderson for Ohtani or some shit like that. Don't completely destroy your future. But I'm telling, I've watched that offense enough. They can go up and be a pest against any fucking pitcher in baseball. They have a bullpen, a back end of their pen. Game over if you're winning after 7. And you go to Cano and Batista. You're going to be seeing flames. Cheddar cheese is going to be thrown in your fucking face in those later frames. Which means if you could just get a few good arms at the deadline, fuck it. Why not put the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series, man?
Baltimore.
Why not? I go for it because the Yankees are going to make their moves. The Blue Jays are going to make their moves. I think it would just be so disheartening for those fans there who've waited, who've put up with 115 lost teams. To be like, hey, we're at the end of this. Let's make a push. Let's assure ourselves a playoff spot and maybe even something better.
I'm taking the team with the most convincing lead in the AL Central. Man, what a story if a team from the AL Central went to the ALCS or with made noise in the playoffs and shit at 83 wins. If you're the Twins, you're sitting there, you're looking at it this is we just fucking roll the dice right here.
Yeah.
That's the team I'm picking. Now, I'm not even saying it's the Twins or the Guardians. The White Sox are where?
White Sox they're very much on life support in terms of the put the pin in the balloon type of shit. They had a little run there where you're like, okay, I think they were 4 back, 3.5 back. The Twins were playing Tampa, so they'd lost several games in a row. I think now they won. They came back to beat the Dodgers last night, but I think now we're reaching they are very deep below 500. I know that division is so bad, we got to look at things differently, but you can't have a buyer that's 8 games under 500 at the fucking
It'd be
deadline.
funny though if they were like, it would be an interesting wrinkle if you were like a light buyer. You know, like if White Sox fans were ready for like trade-offs and stuff. Like, all right, Tim Anderson's going to LA, and it's like, okay, actually, we just announced, a deal for Andrew Chafin from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It was like you brought him up earlier. It was like Stroman when the Mets were like about to be sellers, and then they just acquired Stroman at the deadline, and
then hated his guts every time he played for
right.
him.
And what was weird is it almost worked because they went on a run. Like he pitched all right, but the team as a whole like went on a run after they acquired him.
Yeah.
That'd be a good segment, like funniest random buyers, random trade acquisitions at the deadline that didn't help at all. That's not a bad one. I think because like the AL Central has been beaten to shit so badly. And I mean, I'm not taking back my criticism. It's a garbage division. It would be fun if like an 85-win AL Central team was like, hey, ALCS, World Series. Like, you would think, given the sample size and the fucking laws of probability, that somebody would stumble into something. Make it to the ALDS, Jesus, at this point. I mean, Cleveland, in fairness, did have a little run last year. But, yeah, as strange a division as we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and the Phillies last year, I'd say very easy if you just pay attention to your team to hate.
Yeah.
Like, if you only, if you just pay attention to the White Sox or you just pay attention to the Guardians or whatever, like, the stuff I'm saying right now, you think I'm a crazy person, you're going to tell me your team sucks, they're awful, they're the worst. Something I've learned, everybody feels that way about their team. Fucking Dodgers fans hate the Dodgers. Like, there's Rays fans marginally exist, and they're mad as fuck. They just lost the A's.
Yeah.
Mad. Not disappointed. Mad. How? We should never lose to this team. That's the best team in baseball. That's one of the best teams I've seen in the last decade. They're mad. The whole concept about your baseball team is being mad. So what I like about the AL Central is fucking look at each other. You all suck.
Yes.
You're fucking miserable.
It's an island of misfit toys.
It's like Maction going into fucking NCAA March
really
Madness.
Is.
Like,
That's a
you know
great
what?
way to put
I
it.
didn't
They're
go
the
to
MAC
Ohio.
of Major League Baseball.
I went to Ball State.
Central Michigan.
Ohio got the bid, so we're cheering for Ohio this year.
Yes.
Go Bobcats. That's how the AL Central should come together. So if you're a Royals fan, maybe you guys just start cheering for each other, and then whoever gets to the playoffs, we'll sell a shirt with all the logos on it. AL Central guy.
AL Central Maction.
Yeah, AL Central Maction.
I like that, dude. Get the merch together. Yeah. I like that. No, that's the same part of the country, too. Yeah, I like that.
So we're at the point, too, where, like, a lot of baseball fans are starting to tune out of the season because it's like it's not worth it.
Because
They're
their
not
team
worth the
stinks,
shit. Yeah. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of reasons to follow a baseball team this summer that have, like, very little to do with, like, oh, are you 2 games back? Oh, now you're 4, so you're going to be happy? Like,
right,
it's just going to a ballpark on a Friday, taking days off work, sitting in the sun, getting sunburnt, and then going out for, like, couple afterwards, or like that being the flagship moment of the weekend where you're like, all right, Saturday, everybody's going to get together. We're going to grill at Bob's before. He lives a mile from the park. We're going to walk over together. Like, basically what I'm saying is it's one of the best ways to get people together in the summer. And if your team sucks, use it as a reason to just get out and go enjoy yourself.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
I mean, and you're right. I think that going back to fan bases, like, that's what I love about Detroit fans is dude, I know the attendance hasn't been great, but I will see people at that park, game fucking 76 against the Guardians. We're getting our shit kicked. And you always hold out for hope even for bad teams. Like, maybe we're going to find that one guy. Maybe this guy's going to get going. Like, I think I would love, and I think probably the pre-Theo era of Cubs baseball probably has a lot of these too. Those prospects that you were, like, sure of, that you got way too excited about because you had nothing. Like, that you thought would be slam dunks.
Junior Lake.
Junior Lake was like a big prospect, though, wasn't it?
Fuck off. Junior Lake had a good start. He was okay. Big prospects are top 5 prospects. Top 10.
So he
big
wasn't there.
Big prospects are like big prospects.
Yeah.
Okay? Being on a list because everybody else sucks does not make you a top prospect.
So it was one of those things where he was your top prospect, but he was
fine.
Right. Well, the Tigers had that for years because their farm system was so shitty. So he had, like, Steven Moya, Tyler Collins, like these guys that would come Dixon Machado, these guys that we bought into and they sold us on who were just like nothings. I love like getting to the park in the middle of the summer and just eyeballing those guys, and you hold out hope for them and then they never develop, and sometimes they do. I don't know. It seems like Torkelson's turning a corner, maybe, hopefully.
Is he?
He had his moment because everyone I kind of went off on him a few days ago because he's had.
He didn't like that, did he?
He unfollowed me on Twitter.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
Over something else.
I bet. I would unfollow you, too,
Oh,
if
no,
I was
I'd
a
hate
Tigers
me, too.
player.
No, I would as well.
That's not what I mean. Why would I follow you if I played for the Tigers?
Oh, let's hear what this guy has to say about how we did today.
Right.
Be like, what the fuck? Would if Spencer Torkelson was a huge stoolie and he was like really into the work we're doing right now, and you'd be like, fucking get out of here, dude. Let me fucking cook. Let me do my show.
Because I love these boys like I love my children. That's
why.
Because
I knew you were going to say some shit like that.
I say that a million times over. My life would be made so much better seeing every one of these guys succeed. So, like, yes, it bothers me to see him pop out with 1 out and runners on first and third. But guess what? Hey, to his credit, last 2 days he's fucking balled out. He had a 3-hit game with a home run and a game-winning walk-off single. Followed it up with a homer the next day. Ripped a single yesterday. Maybe this is the moment.
Like, he got the game ball. He got the game ball. Now now you just feel better about yourself. You're walking a little taller.
You said 2 games though.
Yeah,
I really hate that you did that. I wish you didn't say he had a great 2 games.
Well, because
that violates all principles of me cheering for baseball.
True, but they were the first 2 games immediately after I trashed them. So it's like,
okay, yeah. So maybe you didn't have to trash him.
Or maybe I made all the difference.
See, now that's being a great fan, is you did make the difference, Spencer Torkelson. Will you follow this fucking guy on Twitter, please, Spencer?
No, dude, yeah. Well, I love you, Tork.
You know what? Honestly,
TikTok, way more valuable. Instagram. Let's talk about quality of follower. Nah, if you don't want to follow him on Twitter, that's okay. Chase this man down on Instagram. Get the real deal. Spencer Torkelson. I haven't heard Riley Green's name yet. You say that one a lot. Let's do that.
He's injured. So it's that's the worst. Stress reaction in his foot or in his leg. That is the shittiest feeling because he had turned a corner. Like, we're waiting on Torque to do it. We think he's starting to. Green had done it. He had an OPS over 1,000 in the month of May, and it is startling how much different the offense is without him there. Like, not even down to, hey, they're scoring fewer runs. Like, the quality of at-bats have dropped, like, significantly since he was out. You know, he stirs the drink there. It stinks. You're waiting for him. I do think, if there's any hope here for Tiger fans, they've lost 11 out of 12. I do believe they are playing the worst baseball they're going to play this year. Because it's the perfect storm of Erod out, Green out, Skubal out, Manning out. I mean, take your pick with the other pitchers, mixed with the fact that they've played the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, the Braves. Like, they've gone up against some good groups and they've gotten beat. But yeah, so whatever hope of flirting with the AL Central is gone. But I do think this is probably the worst of it. Which, hey, that perfectly works out for me because I get to spend the next week in Omaha. This is my Tigers cleanse. It was last year too.
Yeah, this is how I was in 2021 too. When I came out here, the Cubs were in first place. I came home, the Cubs had traded everybody.
Right.
They had lost every game I was out here in Omaha.
Did they really?
Yeah, they lost every game. And the last game I saw was
they played the Cardinals in a homestand. They either swept the Cardinals or took the series, and were like 31-18, or it was some enough there. We're like, oh shit, oh, and then by the end of the Omaha trip, they were a game under 500.
Jesus,
so, that was rough.
Yeah,
but I like being here because it is as I've said before, it is. I love baseball and I love Major League Baseball.
Yes,
but Major League Baseball is a league within the sport, made of players that I like to watch more than I like to cheer for.
Yeah,
I'm more interested in like the talent and the narrative and the story and how these guys play together than like, oh, that guy hit a home run, good for you. The game's so utterly complex at its highest level, which is Major League Baseball.
Right,
it's very hard to have expectations and get sucked in. Like the A's taking 2 or 3 from the Rays, whatever scene. We say they're Major League Baseball players. Right. I know they suck, but they're Major League Baseball players. What we're going to go to this week with Omaha and the College World Series, what people get to watch as it comes on TV. It's out tonight. It starts today at 1 o'clock at the time of this recording, and then 6 o'clock is the night game. By Sunday, when that Sunday night game is going on, people on Twitter and social media will be all over college baseball. Did you guys know College World Series is on? Oh, look at this Oral Roberts team. Man, TCU's got cool uniforms. You'll just have this buzz pick up. And for the next week, people will care about the sport. And I can tell you unequivocally from a guy who played this sport, people care so much more now, and people care every single year more and more. So I do have the sense of like, we're very lucky to be here.
I'm lucky to be at Omaha. We're going to be telling these stories, walking around with the camera, interacting with the fans and stuff. And we've cheekily said, you know, grow the game over the years, but on a very small micro level. Like, yeah, I'm out here for a week to grow this fucking game. I love the College World Series. I love Omaha. I love the sound of the metal bats. I love the fact that 7 of the 9 dudes in that lineup are going to be able to steal second base. And, like, the stories of these guys, hey, it's over, bro. They know I'm going to retire. I'm thinking it's like, when it's over, it's fucking over for college baseball. Tons of emotion and very accessible and intimate. You know, you're close to the game. It feels so real. Just last night, we're sitting out having a couple, and in downtown Omaha, Stanford walks by. We talked to the Stanford team.
Yeah.
Virginia walks by. We talked to the Virginia team. Couple kids from Florida caught by, talked to the Florida players. Like, just out walking around, getting ready.
Yeah.
So
it's literally right outside the ballpark.
1,000 years see that in another type of big tournament setting.
Yeah, it's why it's a perfect location. You leave your pessimism at the door when you get here too. It's just like fucking purity of the game. It's in the most American location in the world. It's the bomb. I can't wait. This will probably be the happiest I'm gonna be this year. Like, you're probably gonna see me smile more this week than you will probably the rest of the year. So don't get used to it, guys. But for the next week, it's gonna be awesome. And I like this is the best. Like, you have, you know, count your blessings, man. Like, we are so fortunate to be able to do this shit here all the time. Like, it's
but like we're good. You're good. I'm good. We know what we're doing. It's not like I want to raffle or something, and they're like, all right, you're the guy who gets to go do this.
I feel like I did. I feel like I did.
Did you see me set up all this shit today? You see us edit that video till 2 o'clock in the morning last night and put all that shit together?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't winning a raffle. That's teaching yourself shit so you go out and make good stuff.
Well, that's you. I'm saying
we're rolling the same team here, pal.
Fair enough.
Fucking Barstool baseball. The fucking pitcher doesn't catch the pitches. The fucking catcher catches pitches. Everybody's got a job to do. We're doing a great job. We got a ton of stuff to do here at Omaha. This is an American League show. We are on site. We are on site at Omaha. So I want to thank our MLB fans that had followed along, even though we'll be back in studio programming traditionally after the College World Series. We're taking this week a little interactive. Find some soul and spirit in the game. We're going to be better because of this. Better baseball fans, better people, maybe better lovers. Guys, this is Barstool Baseball. If you've tuned into YouTube, it's super easy to subscribe to our channel, so fucking do that now, right now. If you're listening, I like you just as much as the YouTube guys. It's not true, though. But please subscribe.
I love all of y'all equally.
The YouTube guys are worth, like, a little... I'm just kidding. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Thanks for tuning in.